Hey guys, Jonah here, back drinking beer once again, but today is not a usual beer review. If indeed I do a beer review at all, I'm going to be drinking some beer. So if you don't want to hang around, that's absolutely fine. If you're only coming here because of what this video is, that's absolutely fine as well. Yeah, it's today is one of my best friend's birthdays, James Dermody, Jim, who's no longer with us, unfortunately. And I always try and remember him on his birthday by drinking one of his favourite beers. Um, in fact, he told me once that this was his absolute favourite beer, and he kept trying to get me to work out the recipe. Um, it is this bad boy, ironically called Life and Death, 6% IPA from Vocation. You'll probably hear me always talking good regard about Vocation, and that's because it was Jim's favourite. 3 kilo of hops, 40 kilos of barley, selflessly give their lives to make every barrel of this punchy bestseller. Yeah, it's basically a hoppy American style IPA, and it's Citra and Mosaic, is it? Yeah. And I even like the color, and I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I've only got the small ones this year. Last year, I think I had a big one, so I might drink a couple of these. We'll see how well we go. Obviously, artwork on the can did actually used to look a bit different, but they've gone for the kind of V logo these days. All the information is the same. And they're up in Hebden Bridge, up in, I think it's Yorkshire, but it's right on the border, if I remember rightly. I've got friends on either side of the border, so Shamol. And of course, I'm going to be using my Vocation glass, freshly cleaned by myself, after drinking that really nice beer the other day. There we go. You know what I need to do? Get a second one of these, because look at that. It's not a full glass. Absolutely outrageous. I can't drink to Jim, my best bud, without having a full glass. This is the one that'll explode everywhere. No, it hasn't. And yeah, I don't know if I was a huge fan of this beer to start with, but it's definitely a grower. I can't remember. I mean, this wasn't always available since I've been doing videos. I've been doing videos for near on 15 years now, so I'm pretty sure it came in somewhere along the lines. There we go. There's the V. At least a finger's worth of head. And there we go. It's the Vocation. Yeah, so cheers and beers, big man. I hope you're keeping a bar stool, ready for me when I get up there. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? The longer we live ourselves, the more people we know that have died, and it's unbelievably sad. Ooh. And this is a proper hoppy bad boy. I know you've got places like Brewdog and that kind of stuff. Siren's another one, but Vocation makes some absolute fantastic beer. The tropicalness is there, but there's a lot of kind of the grass, the greenery, that kind of stuff. And it's a pretty hoppy beer. It's not super hoppy, but it's definitely one of the more hoppy beers. So I really like that. And maybe they play around with the recipe every now and then, but it is one of those core beers that you always know what you're going to get. And sometimes you get it on draft. I've had it on draft before. Um, and it is slightly different, or cask even, I should say. Draft or cask, depends where you go. Oh, so me and the big man, um, and that's what we used to call each other. He called me big man, and I call him big man. Um, and it was because at one point we were both quite big men. Um, I think I got up to about 18 and a half stone at my biggest. Um, I was working in a gym, believe it or not. GYM, not JIM. Um, but I was pretty fat as well. Just a big dude. And these days I'm a shade. Well, I kind of some days I'm under 15 stone and sometimes just over, but hovering around that 15 stone, which means I'm overweight. Um, but yeah, me and Jim basically we started at school together, at a grammar school, believe it or not, Kingston Grammar School in Kingston Town. Um, and yeah, when you kind of are in what we call secondary school over here in the UK, um, you have your core friends, and you discover things like beer and other naughty things, um, including girls and motorbikes and all sorts of crazy things. And yeah, a lot of people. I had a lot of friends back in those days. Unfortunately, you let your friends kind of go away because of family stuff and moving away and you know that kind of stuff. But I had a few really good mates that I grew up with through sort of 16 to 20 and beyond. Um, and yeah, a lot of them I still speak to. Not haven't seen them for a while, but yeah, we catch up sometimes. And one of my friends, Ben, who also was in our kind of year in school, he's recently gone for a job. He's a teacher, and he's recently gone for a job interview at the school that we all went to. Weirdly, Jim, he didn't really like school that much. He was very much like a Renaissance kind of man. Oh, and we'd talk about literally anything. So that's what I mean by Renaissance. You could think of some obscure thing. Oh, have you heard about this? And drop it in, and he'd be like, yeah, I was reading an article or watching a video of late, or you know, he used to stay up quite late. Um, and he'd be on his computer, much to the annoyance of his long-suffering girlfriend. Um, and yeah, he'd be up late at night, like literally researching and finding out weird things about anything. And I was like that too. I still am. Oh, I really miss him. You only meet people like that maybe a handful of times in your life, and yeah, in this case, it's it's just the cruel fate of the world. Um, makes you really wonder if religion has a place in, you know, in your life, because why would you take someone like that away when, he was only in his early 40s, 44, I think he was when he died. And I know people are younger than that. My nephew died and he was 26. But it just seems such a waste. It really does. And yeah, it makes you think about religion and, you know, why would these things happen? And yeah, I do have a faith, and it keeps me grounded, keeps me from doing some really naughty things. Oh, we used to do naughty things back in the day, believe it or not. Yeah. Ooh. And believe it or not, me and Jim used to get up to all sorts of trouble. I remember going, I don't know if I've told this story before or not, but it's one of the stories. I mean, there are so many stories. Um, but yeah, one of the stories was we went to a party. I think it was to do with mock exams or some sort of exams. I'm not exactly sure what kind of exams. And we got absolutely hammered. And I used to have a little scooter bike, like a 50cc scooter, like a lot of people did. Um, and yeah, we were at this place, and it wasn't. We were staying at Jim's, and the party was maybe a mile from his house at one of our friends, and we, I was absolutely wrecked. I couldn't ride back, and Jim was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, just I'll ride, I'll drive," and I was so hammered. I was like, "Yeah, no worries, mate. I'll sit on the back, you drive." Um, and yeah, stupidly, I got on the bike facing backwards. I thought it was a good idea at the time. So I'm sitting on the back of my bike going, we were going that way, but I was looking out the back. So I was sitting on backwards and holding that you used to get your hands like holding the seat strap. Um, anyway, so Jim starts off and it's a 50cc, so it's like 30. Well, I de-restricted mine, so it went up to, I think it went up to like 45, maybe maximum. Maybe it was a fizzy, if you remember those. Anyone in the 70s and 80s will remember a fizzy. It was, yeah, Yamaha bike that you could tune. You actually tune these bikes back in those days. Anyhow, he was driving, and then all of a sudden, I'm aware that we're going round a roundabout, and because I'm sitting backwards, the roundabout's on the right side, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, he's driving, he's just gone around this roundabout, and it's a big one, the wrong way, and I was like, dude, dude, and he was like, yeah, 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 yeah. He used to say things like, yeah, 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 whatever, whatever, yeah, yeah. And we stopped at the train station, which would have been Weybridge in Surrey, Weybridge Station. And I went, dude, you went round the roundabout the wrong way, and he just started laughing. And that's when I was like, hang on, how many beers have you had? Oh, I've only had 5 beers. Oh, 5 beers. I don't know how many I had, but I was like, right, we can't do this. We got to we got to go off road. And he used to live from the train station to his old house, because he moved a few times when he was younger. We used to go through the woods. So I took over, hammered as anything. I'm getting that way now. That's what happens, dear viewer, when you have a 6.5% beer. and you have. Oh, this is only a first. Hey, in fact, what am I talking about? This is only the first one. Jesus. Anyway, I'm having a good time telling stories, and this story will end soon. um, Boom. There we go. Yeah. So I said, no, you're too hammered, and he was like, you're hammered too, and I was like, I know, but you said you weren't hammered. We were both hammered, and we probably weren't that hammered, but no, we were hammered. So we both smoked a woodbine, as it were, and set off through the woods on these mud paths. And believe it or not, when there are two up on a scooter, you weigh it down quite a lot, so you have quite a lot of traction on the mud. So I was off-roading down this thing, probably 30 miles an hour, maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, absolutely nuts. Um, we didn't crash. We did not crash. We did not kill anyone. Nothing happened. But yeah, you shouldn't do those kind of things, kids. In fact, what am I talking about? There should be no kids watching this because I've set all my videos to 18 plus. And that's one of the reasons why I haven't got a bigger following, I think, than I do. But thank you for watching, whoever you are, watching my antics and my stories. Um, and I have to say, I'm one of those people that likes stories, whether they're embellished or not, with the onset of time doesn't matter. I like a good story. I like being told a good story. And Jim, it was an absolute pleasure to be part of your story, and I'm so glad that you were part of my story. Now, when Jim was alive, um, he used to tell me that his daughter, because he had a young daughter, Macy, who's not that young anymore, she's definitely getting up into her teenage years. Um, she used to watch my video. She was, yeah, she was bemused, I think. That's a good word to use, bemused, by my antics and especially my home brewing and that kind of thing. And Jim, there is on my channel, there is a long time ago when I first started doing YouTube videos. So there's got to be like 15, 14 maybe years ago. If you look back through my back catalogue, and please do, dear viewer, there's so much on there. But yeah, right near the beginning, there's a video called Jim's Review or something like that, where Jim's drinking my homebrew and saying, "Oh, this tastes like Directors. I don't know if that's what you want me to say." And I remember when we did that video, I said, "Jim, just drink this beer and tell me what you think." And I don't know if he thought Directors was somehow bad. Directors is a really good beer. It's a really traditional beer. And in those days, that's what I was going for. I was trying to do a proper pint of dishwater bitter. You know, those ones. Just, they were the beers that I really liked. And for him to say that, brilliant. And to see his face, I watched it the other day and see his face was like, you know, just side, turning your head to the side. And that's exactly what he was like. And Yeah, I really miss him, guys. You know, if you're still with me, I know this 20-minute video now, just recalling stories about people gone. It's so sad. It's just so sad. And yeah, for his other half, and especially for his daughter, trying to reminisce on old stories. I almost feel guilty about, the time I should have gone out with him more often. Um, and it's me. Of late, dear viewer, I haven't had much money. Money's really tight, and it has been for a few years. And not going out with your friend who's now gone, it's just Jesus Christ. What a lame excuse for not going and seeing your friend that you love, you really love dearly, because you don't have enough money in the bank. It's like, for fuck's sake. I would I would seriously go into big amounts of debt just to speak to my friend again, and I can't. Cheers, big man. Oh, anyway, I think you guys probably know what I'm saying. But I really miss my friend, and happy birthday, dude. You know, keep keep that seat warm for me at the bar in the sky, and I'll be back for another beer review. Not like this, not for another year, but I'll be back. I'm not going to stop drinking until I die. Guys, take care. Take care of yourselves. Tell the people that you love that you really do love them, because one day it will be too late and you won't get a chance. And I'll be back for a normal-ish beer review real soon.